My name is Jewel. In this video, I am exploring how perception re-enters in the everyday moments and what blocks it. Perception does not return because you try to sense more clearly. It returns when management drops. The re-entry is subtle and often missed because it feels ordinary, not dramatic, not emotional, not charged. Perception does not announce itself. Perception comes back online in the moments when nothing is being controlled, the small openings where the system stops managing long enough to sense. It is ordinary, quiet, easy to miss. Let's go through the exact moments where perception re-enters. 1. When urgency pauses even briefly. When you stop trying to decide right now, the pressure loosens for a second. In that short pause, the body softens, the mind goes quiet, something obvious becomes apparent. Perception slips in between thoughts, not after them. It does not announce itself. It simply shows up when urgency loosens. 2, when you stop explaining to yourself. You notice you are rehearsing reasons, justifications, or narratives, and you just stop. Not to replace them, not to correct them, just because they are no longer needed. Because the explanation is no longer needed. What appears is not an answer. It is a clear sense of fit or misfit. This is perception returning. 3, when the body settles before the mind agrees. Your shoulders drop, your breath deepens. Before any conclusion forms, there's a bodily yes or no. That signal is perception, arriving before language, before reasoning, before coherence is articulated. It does not argue. It does not try to convince you. It simply registers. 4, when you allow uncertainty without filling it. You do not rush to resolve the not knowing. No pros and cons, no checking, no mental involvement. In the space of not forcing resolution, recognition shows up on its own. Perception prefers openness, not certainty. 5, when you notice what you are avoiding. You notice you are managing around a conversation, a choice, a decision, a truth. The moment you simply notice the avoidance without correcting it, clarity appears. Perception often returns where management relaxes. 6, when you stop checking how it will land. You stop pre-adjusting for reactions, approval, consequences. Your reference point shifts back to direct sensing. What is true becomes visible without needing permission or acceptance. 7, when timing becomes obvious without pressure. You are not deciding what to do. You simply know when to do nothing. That sense of timing is perception re-entering. No urgency, no delay, just the sense of rightness. That sense of obvious timing is perception re-entering. Perception is quiet, not dramatic, simple, not complex, settled, not energized, obvious, after it appears. If it needs defending, it is not perception yet. If it requires effort, it is coming from management, which is part of the human operating system. So, how does this appear in real life? Let's look at 3 areas where this becomes unmistakable: relationships, work and career, and money. In relationships, perception re-enters when you stop managing the other person's reaction. You stop rehearsing how they will feel, agree, or push back. A simple truth becomes visible. You feel ease or tension before the story forms, clarity without the urge to persuade, relief without resolution. If the body settles and the clarity feels neutral, perception is back online. In work and career, perception re-enters when urgency around decisions drops. You stop trying to optimize timing, optics, or outcomes. You stop confusing effort with commitment. You notice how much of your energy is going into maintaining something rather than doing it. What no longer requires your energy becomes obvious, often before you know what should replace it. The clarity feels lighter, even if inconvenient. In money decisions, perception re-enters when fear-based urgency loosens. Justification stops. A story is no longer required to call something smart or necessary. The body signals before the math convinces. You can sense where spending drains you, when waiting is correct, when money is compensating for discomfort instead of serving function. Calm replaces control. Not excitement, calm. Across all areas, the same pattern holds. Perception re-enters when management pauses, self-checking relaxes, outcome control releases. What shows up next is not an answer, it's orientation. So, what blocks perception the most? In relationship, it is not the fear of loss, but fear of change and equilibrium, fear of disruption. This shows up as managing the other person's emotions, staying agreeable past truth, explaining instead of sensing, prioritizing harmony over accuracy. Here, the human operating system suppresses perception to preserve continuity. You feel unclear, not because you do not know, but because perception feels destabilizing to the system. In work and career, it is not fear of failure, but fear of identity collapse. This shows up as staying busy to avoid reassessment, confusing effort with value, optimizing something that already feels wrong, staying because it makes sense. Here, the system substitutes productivity and justification for direct perception. Decisions feel heavy, foggy, or endlessly debatable. Regarding money, the block is urgency is tied to safety, not greed or scarcity, fear of instability. This shows up as pressure to act quickly, fear of missing out, over justifying smart choices, using money to regulate discomfort, urgency overriding timing. Choices feel reactive even when logical. So across relationships, work, and money, the same pattern appears. Continuity is prioritized over coherence. Perception steps back when leading feels destabilizing, not because it is gone, because it is temporarily unsafe to lead. Nothing is wrong here. The human operating system is doing its job. Perception returns automatically when disruption is no longer feared. Identity is no longer defended. Urgency no longer equals safety. No forcing required, no fixing needed. Only the natural re-entry of perception when management relaxes, not by force. In the next video, we will explore how these blocks naturally dissolve and signals, both real and false.